Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is VIN 2367. It is a rebuilt title car. It's actually a theft recovery, and it was stolen out of the Bay Area in California because of course it was. That's where they're all stolen from. And it is a 2017 8X1, which is ultrasonic blue Mica 2.0 with the LA30 interior, which is the red interior. Now, this car was very well known in the Lexus community, and the individual, I know him, I've talked to him. The guy that it was stolen from, it was actually stolen out of his driveway. He sent me the video of it actually happening. It appears what's happening, you notice they go around to the trunk, then they smash the sunroof, they go inside the car. It looks like it was probably a relay attack, which means that they're probably trying to intercept the signal from the key being close by and the car looking for the signal, and they're basically just catching that and starting it. And in order to do that, they have a little programmer and they'll put it in the OBD2 port, and then they gain access to your car. But the video, the thieves were dumb enough to post their escapades on Instagram right here. So here they are driving it 120, 130 miles an hour, joyriding. And so they had it for about a month, and then it was finally recovered with different wheels on it. It originally had some very nice wheels on it, and now it has some different ones. But it had a whole bunch of other mods on it, and the insurance wasn't going to pay the owner for it, so they let him take off the mods, return it to stock as much as possible, and then back to Copart. So if you look at the photos, there's actually two sets of photos at Copart, the first of which you won't find on the internet anymore because they replaced them with the ones that you can see at Copart now. This car, as a result of it being stolen, they tampered the VIN. And so, which means they smashed a hole in the front windscreen to remove the VIN that's on the dashboard. And then they also scraped the label off of the driver's door area. There's now a new label that's assigned to it. So the car still has the same VIN, but it's just been altered. So it's a theft recovery, it's an altered VIN, and then therefore, since it was paid out, it's a salvage title, now a rebuilt title. But the damage that it appears to have received, it was a smashed sunroof, a smashed windshield, and different wheels were on it, and a modified VIN, of course. So as far as everything else, like the bodywork looks okay on that end of things. See, so you got some dollars you'll have to put into it, but it's definitely an easy rebuilt title. So you're not worried about how body work was repaired or things like that. So this car popped up on Facebook Marketplace in August of 2025, and it was kind of on and off, posted by two different people, but it looks like it actually just sold August 15th. So this is August 22nd. So it's probably in new hands now, but I just wanted to get the info on this car out there since I have videos and everything else and further information that may help the next owner down the line. But it's for sale at a pretty well-known dealership in Dallas-Fort Worth area in Princeton, Texas, that they repair a lot of other GSF, RCFs, Lexus and Toyota vehicles and try to flip them. And so that's their business. This car is listed, brace yourselves, with 78,000 miles, 2017, for $50,000. You've heard me talk about it in the past, rebuilt title cars. These cars sell $28,000 to $32,000. That's where the market has spoken, where these things are. There's many people that try to flip them for much more than that, but this car at $50,000, you are out of your mind. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling on about the stolen part of it, and we'll jump into everything else that we usually do on these videos. So first and foremost, production statistics. There are 269 8X1, which is USB 2.0. There's 269 cars for the North American market out of the 2,348 cars that were 8X1. Out of those 269, only 62 had the LA30 interior, the red interior. So a lot of people call that the Superman spec, the blue with the red interior. Specifically for 2017, there's only 35 cars that were ultrasonic blue mica. Of those 35, only 14 had red interior. So this car is one of 14. That is pretty rare for combinations go, as far as combinations go. On to Carfax, AutoCheck, and Epic VIN. Carfax shows this as a 4-owner, 2-accident. It was a 3-owner as of a week ago, now it's 4, so 4-owner, 2-accident car. Epic VIN shows it as a 3-owner, 1 accident, and AutoCheck shows it as a 3-owner, now 4, 2-accident car. And so it looks like it had an accident back in 2021, and of course the theft and the damage that resulted from it in early 2025, February of 2025. Previous sales, looks like this was a Texas car that was then moved to California and sold new in California, and now it's back in Texas, of course. It was first put on sale in May of 2017 for $89,000 here in Texas, and still for sale in September, but it looks like they did a dealer trade, and so now it was for sale in California. And it was first registered in September of 2017, so probably about 4 months for sale. Pretty average for what you'd see for these cars, 4 to 8 months. Sometimes they're for sale longer, but this is a pretty desirable combination for colors, so no surprises that it's on the short end of the sales time. So next up, it was for sale July of 2020 for $55,000, 25,000 miles in California. So that's only $5,000 more than what they're asking now with 50,000 more miles, 50,000 less miles. November 21, $59,000 with 66,000 miles. And it's still stock at that point too. It didn't have any of the modifications, anything like that. And then it shows up on Copart in May, June of 2025. It sold for $24,900 plus fees, plus shipping from California to Texas, which is where the dealer that bought it has it. So they're in it about $27,000. Had to fix the windshield, had to fix the sunroof, and a few other things, but call it $30,000 that they're in this car. They're trying to sell it for $50,000, so they're trying to get a $20,000 profit out of it. As I said, so it popped up in August of 2025 for sale for $50,000. You are out of your mind if you've paid that. If you bought this car and you paid $50,000, you wasted a whole lot of money. But again, my opinion, and the market has also spoken, but if you paid $50,000 for this car, you've lost your mind. Something that you'll note in the pictures at Copart, so you've heard me talk about earlier in the video, they actually smashed the windshield, and in these pictures that the dealer is selling the car, it still has the smashed windshield, and I'm assuming it still has the smashed sunroof, but you can't see the top of the car very well, but you can see the windscreen. You can see that they've taped it up, and I would definitely hope that the windshield has been replaced, and at least that and the sunroof, so the car is weather tight. But it has different wheels on it when it was recovered, so the originals are gone. A lot of the mods that the car had are gone. It's basically a stock car with a carbon fiber steering wheel and maybe some other cosmetic mods, but most of the stuff that made this car unique and special, modified, it's gone. So it's basically a stock car, may have lowered suspension, but it's got aftermarket wheels and a steering wheel, and that's about all I see. On to the service history for this car. Pretty lengthy service history, well serviced at Lexus, so that's always good. And let's see what we can find here. So 2018, the JLB recall, that's the high pressure fuel pumps. That's been done, so that's good to see. Majority of these cars, that's already been done. They also had a complaint about the seat heaters not working, and I've talked about this on a few other cars. You will see that complaint quite a bit in the service history on these cars. It's just the heated and cooled seats in these cars suck. There's no way around it. It's just, they don't heat up very hot and they don't cool very well, but they don't breathe very well either. So you will see that complaint a lot on these cars. October of 2019, the KLG customer service campaign was done. So the KLG is the GPS. It shows, like if you're driving on the main highway, it shows you off to the side somewhere. That was updated and done too. So that's already out of the way. January of 2020, January and February, the driver's seat track was replaced due to squeaking. And I've seen that in a few. It doesn't seem to be very common, but Lexus replaced the driver's seat track. July of 2020, it looks like dent repair, new windshield moldings, and they installed low jack. That was probably in preparation for certified pre-owned sale. It's kind of what it looks like, but maybe not. September of 2020, repainted the front bumper. January of 21, they repainted the front bumper again. And April of 21, they repainted the front bumper yet again. Not sure what that's about, but 3 repaints in a period of 6 months. Oh, and April of 21, second service, they repainted the bumper again, along with the front bumper, grille, windshield, and the HVAC servos were reprogrammed. So that's another common issue, so that's done. but it looks like they probably hit something, I would guess. But basically the whole front end was repaired or replaced with new parts. I guess it also looks like there's some damage to the condenser, things, the radiator, kind of that area. So obviously something was impacted or hit with the front of the car at that time. May of 21, another windshield replacement. Center console, the center console cover, they wanted a quote for replacement, but it was not replaced. A month later, in June of 21, another windshield. So that really unusual. And they also said repair 3 wheels. A month later, in July of 21, the left rear shock was replaced because it was leaking and the airbag light was noted as on. They couldn't get anything off of that, so they reset the airbag light, and looks like it wasn't an issue since then. The shocks, 2016 wasn't affected by this. 2017 to 2020, the internal oil seal on the adaptive shocks would leak, even when they were brand new. Some of them had 15 miles when they were leaking. So out of the 4 on this car at Lexus, only one of these has been replaced. So if you're looking at this car, definitely inspect the shocks. Make sure if it doesn't have aftermarket suspension from all the modifications, if it still has the original suspension, check out those, make sure they're not leaking. Otherwise, you'll be on the hook for $200, $250 a corner, plus labor and an alignment. March of 2022, again, reported issues with the navigation location, but they reported and said that there's no firmware updates or anything like that, so there's nothing they could really do. February of 2023, the ZLZ program, which it looks like they were doing it for replacing the carbon fiber, and this is one of the instances where Lexus actually covered and replaced the carbon fiber under the ZLZ, but it doesn't look like they replaced the dash, which is what the original intention of that ZLZ program was. Doesn't say they replaced it, just said they replaced the left and the right side carbon fiber pieces on the dash, and that was it. So it's cool that it's covered, but the other important part of it is the dash, and it looks like it was not replaced there. April of 2023, carbon fiber trim on both doors was reported as peeling. They said it was not covered under the customer service program, which is correct, but it was not replaced there. So it looks like in the pictures, it has been replaced. So I don't know if the owner just did it as a DIY or something. It looks like all but the center console piece have been replaced. Maybe the center console was also done at that time too. So there's 5 pieces that commonly delaminate on these cars. The left and the right side dash pieces, the left and the right side front doors, and the center console. So if that's all been done, that's one thing less you have to worry about. So this car's had the fuel pump, high pressure, low pressure, the HVAC, the GPS update, the carbon fiber. So like it's pretty well sorted in that regard. So if this thing wasn't stolen and had a theft recovery title, you know, it sounds pretty promising otherwise, just if you didn't have that part to deal with. May of 2023, it's a miscellaneous diagnosis. It says not okay, exclamation mark. Doesn't elaborate as to what that was, but it's not okay in May of 23. March of 2025, so that is right after this was the theft recovery, 77,450 miles, collision repair. Doesn't say what was repaired, it just says that there was a collision repair. Don't know if that's front bumper, anything else. It would have had a smashed windshield, smashed sunroof, maybe something else, but there was some repair done. That's the last entry at Lexus. So I would say very well dealer serviced. If there was an issue, it looks like it was addressed, and then all the common issues look like they've been sorted. So really from that aspect, looks pretty good. Lots of windshield replacements and lots of bumper repaintings for some reason. Maybe they liked tailgating people, or I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but it's a little bit unusual to see that many windshield replacements, that many bumper replacements. So it looks like this car just sold like a week ago. So if you're looking to buy this car in the future, definitely inspect the valley plate, the lower control arm bushings, obviously the carbon fiber, the usual things that you would inspect these cars. But at the end of every video, I always say, would I buy this car? And at $50,000, it is a big hell no. So the problem with this car is it doesn't have a lot of terrible damage history or anything. It does have some, but it was well serviced. It did have some mods on it. Now it's back to stock, that's not a big deal. But the branded title significantly hurts the value. And you've heard me talk about with some of these others that I've done that have rebuilt titles, that it's pretty much an immediate like $20,000 to $25,000 discount when these cars have branded titles. 28 to 32,000 is where the market has spoken where these cars are. If it's a special one like an anniversary edition, you know, you can go a little bit higher, but this is a 2017. It's not a special edition. It is on the rare side of combos, but there is no way it is worth $50,000. So if you got that, if it's sold for $50,000, my mind will be blown, because they just pulled the wool over that buyer's eyes at that point, because $50,000 is about $20,000 more than I would pay for this car. And the market has spoken. As I said, you know, if you think you can get 50 grand for it, more power to you, but this car's not gonna get that. But I think that mechanically, it's probably a pretty good car. You know, it's well sorted, it's well serviced. So, you know, it's just, you have this thing that's hanging over you with the branded title. And so that obviously affects the value, but I think that aside, it would be a good car if you could get it cheap enough, jump in it, drive it, go enjoy it, because it's well sorted. It's already getting up there on miles, you know, almost 80,000 miles, but still, I would call that average miles for a GSF, low miles for any other car. But these cars have proven to go 250 plus thousand miles without problems. So, you know, this would be a good driver's car. You know, it would be a value be damned. If you bought it for 30, 32, even 33, 34,000, it would still be a great deal to just go enjoy it. But from a collector standpoint, no. From a car that would be easy to resell, absolutely not. I said people are always extra cautious with branded titles. However, as far as branded titles go, for the ones I've seen and ones I've reviewed for this car, this is definitely on the better side of things. So there is that. You know, it wasn't in a fire, it didn't have bullet holes through it, which is the other car that this dealer's got for sale right now. There's so many things to consider. How long are you going to keep the car? Do you just want it to go enjoy it for a little while and get rid of it? Or are you going to keep it long term? You know, there's a lot of things to consider with this car as far as how much you're going to spend. But as I said, it looks like it just recently sold. So if that is the case, then that's what you've got. So anyway, this is VIN2367. That's what I've got for you guys. Thanks again for watching. If you know any more about this car, share your experiences, whatever, in the comments. I know this is a very well-known car in the GSF community, and it's kind of sad to see it live on the way it is, because it was a very beautiful car, very well-known car, very well-modified car at that point. So thanks again. We'll see you soon.